Happy Friday. We made it throughout the week. Welcome to Pushing the Limits, also part of the Occupy Democrats Network. You can find us everywhere, not just on the Occupy Democrats Facebook fan page, of course, on our own Facebook fan page, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Twitch. We're all over the place just so that we can entertain you every day. That's how much I love all of you. And boy, do we have a big show lined up for you today. If you haven't already heard, a Nevada grand jury has indicted 6 Republicans in the state of Nevada who submitted fake electorates, a fake electorate scheme, and now there's finally, at least it appears, there's going to be some accountability, including the current chair of the Republican Party here in Nevada. That's right. 6 people have been indicted involved in this alleged fake electorate scheme. I guess I have to say the word alleged, but I think we know all what took place here, and they're not the only ones. It's happening throughout the country. So somebody who I have a lot of respect for from the Nevada Independent, Jon Ralston, is going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. They've been covering this story since day one. We're going to get all the details, and I can't wait to talk to him to get it to you. If you were a part of this fake electorate scheme, it doesn't matter whether you're Jim Jordan or if you're a guy named Mike McDonald, who's the Nevada Republican chair. It doesn't matter. You need to be held to account. The chickens are coming home to roost. And I can't wait to learn more about this and talk more about it. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, 6 Nevada Republicans have officially been indicted, allegedly for being a part of this fake electorate scheme. We heard it, and we heard it since day one after we learned that Donald Trump lost in a free and fair election. By the way, yes, that's right. That might be some news to some of you. Joe Biden won a free and fair election. There's going to be always levels of fraud in every election. It could be a small mayoral race, or it could be the president of the United States. If you have an IQ over 20, you know that there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of the 2020 election. And now these people are going to be held to account. They knew that Donald Trump lost, but they put forth this fake electorate scheme. Why is it I don't hear from Democrats doing this stuff? Why is it I don't hear Nevada elected officials that are Democrats or throughout the country that are trying to overturn the outcome of the election? Did they do that when Hillary Clinton lost in 2016? You'll hear from Republicans all over the place. Hillary Clinton didn't concede. Yes, she did. Hillary Clinton conceded the following morning. Now, if you say Donald Trump's an illegitimate president, I would say he's illegitimate for saying, I don't respect John McCain because he was captured. There's a difference between saying someone's illegitimate because you don't like them personally or horrible things they've said or done, and then saying that somebody won or lost an election and lying about it or putting forth a fake electorate scheme. In my lifetime, have we seen a presidency where a Republican won and then Democrats put forth fake electorates? Do the Democrats do that stuff? I'm not saying in the history of this country Democrats have never tried to cheat in an election. I wouldn't make a claim like that. But we have this fake electorate scheme across the country. Across the country. Now, I would say, why has it taken 3 years? Well, I'm happy that Attorney General Ford here in Nevada has finally indicted these 6 clowns. I would use the term criminal, allegedly. It's ridiculous. So we are going to cover this, and we are going to cover it in length with, again, Jon Ralston from the Nevada Independent at the bottom of the hour to get all the details on what Mike McDonald and his cronies did and the crimes that they're facing. They're all facing jail time, by the way. They could be going to jail, just like Donald Trump. But all you right-wingers out there want to focus on Hunter Biden's laptop and his penis. I'm sick of it. The only guns Republicans care about, and no, I'm not going to get into gun control today. We did enough of that yesterday. But the only guns that that the Republicans care about is Hunter Biden's unloaded gun that he had for 13 days illegally that he didn't actually commit a crime with. That's the only gun that Republicans care about. You think they care about your children? They care about your safety? No. It's politics as usual. Let's go after Hunter Biden when there's absolutely no evidence that Joe Biden committed any crimes or did anything wrong. I'm sick of it. These are the people that Republicans vote in office. People like Gymnasium Jordan, who has never passed a bill in his life. He's a noisemaker. He's not a lawmaker. You know who else is a noisemaker? Vivek Ramaswamy. Did you see this sham of a town hall that he did on CNN, and all these right-wingers are out there saying, oh my God, did you see Vivek Ramaswamy destroy CNN's Abby Phillips? What are you talking about? Vivek Ramaswamy is a conspiracy theorist. He's no better than Alex Jones. He might speak a little bit more eloquently. He might appear to be more intelligent, but he is a conspiracy theorist, and now he is peddling the fact that in this conspiracy theory that somehow January 6th was an inside job. He said it on a debate stage a few weeks ago. He claims that the government was behind January 6th, not the over 1,000 people that have already been convicted of crimes, proven in a court of law. He's saying that the government was behind January 6th. If you don't believe me, have a listen to what he had to say in this CNN town hall just the other day. It's absurd.
January 6th.
Yep.
There is no evidence that there were federal agents in the crowd on January 6th.
So why, before Congress, when pressed on what the number was, they didn't say there were none? They just couldn't say how many there were.
So you're saying that that you have not seen any evidence that there were, and so
we've seen multiple informants suggesting that there were. We know people were FBI informants who were asked to
Is there any evidence?
May I just finish this, and you can come back and question me?
Well, let me clarify.
I know it's very uncomfortable for you.
I'm going to clarify my question.
I know this is an uncomfortable issue for many people, but we have to do the truth here.
I'm going to clarify my question because I want to make sure that you understand what I'm asking.
I understand this deeply. And I told you, I was with you 3 years ago. I'm not there now.
Where is the evidence?
Yes.
Where is the evidence that the government had a plot?
So let's do this.
An inside job.
But no, I'm going to tell you what an inside job is, because I'm not
violence on January 6th.
I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth. I'm going to put my words in my mouth. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that.
Where is the evidence that the government was involved in planning or executing January 6th?
So I'm going to give you hard facts. And if I may, Abby, I know this is going to be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to go through this, and you can push back on it after that. And you can push back on that. And let's do this fairly.
So the reason there's people out there that are saying Abby Phillips was interrupting Vivek Ramaswamy because he wasn't answering the question and he wasn't providing evidence. By the way, he's the one who used the term inside job on a debate stage. She's using his words, and that's what Vivek Ramaswamy does. He says things in an interview, and then when questioned on them, he claims he didn't say it. He does it all the time. It was Vivek Ramaswamy that used the term, quote, inside job on a debate stage just a few weeks ago. Abby Phillips is not making things up. And again, you people out there that say, Abby Phillips, she keeps interrupting him, because he's not answering the question. The question is, where is your evidence that January 6th was an inside job? Here's a news flash for you. It's not. It wasn't. And it's been proven in a court of law. Just because you might have some agents in the crowd, and that hasn't even been verified yet, that hasn't even been proven yet. Sometimes when you have large protests that could become violent, you could have some law enforcement officials undercover in that crowd. That doesn't mean it was an inside job. And Vivek Ramaswamy gets on a stage in the Republican debate a few weeks ago, conspiracy theories about Hunter Biden's laptop, conspiracy theories about January 6th, when we know for sure, without the shadow of a doubt, that the overwhelming amount of people that were convicted on January 6th were from right-wing fringe group MAGA supporters. How do we know that? It was proven in court. Many of the defendants who were convicted admitted that they were there and they weren't coerced in going there to no other person other than Donald Trump. We know that because those were their statements in a courtroom. Yet we listen to Vivek Ramaswamy, who sadly has a large platform. And there are a lot of fringe right people that like Vivek Ramaswamy, the same types of people that voted for Donald Trump, the same types of people that love Alex Jones, and they listen to Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy is a liar. But you know what makes him even more dangerous? Because he knows he's lying. He's not a dumb guy. I don't even think he realizes, though, the dangers of what he's talking about. The people that are responsible for January 6th are the people that had the large platforms like Donald Trump, that lied about the 2020 presidential election, saying that Joe Biden stole the election, saying that Democrats stole the election and that Joe Biden was an illegitimate president. And then the people that actually stormed the Capitol, the people that defecated on Nancy Pelosi's desk, the people that went in there with their Confederate flag and their MAGA flags and attacked police officers that day. Yes, it's been proven over 140 police officers were injured that day. People died that day. People died in the coming days, weeks, and months. Several officers committed suicide, and their family members said they were never the same since that day. So I'm going to take their word over some MAGA supporter that says January 6th was some sort of tourist visit, because it wasn't. It wasn't a tourist visit. And Vivek Ramaswamy continues, and here's the part where Abby Phillips continues to question him, asking for evidence that January 6th was an inside job. And here's an example again of Vivek Ramaswamy cherry picking.
Why did they suppress footage of now what's been released, 200 hours of footage of shooting rubber bullets into that crowd, shooting tear gas into that crowd? You didn't see that before. You saw what the response was to that. Now you see footage coming out of actually rolling out the red carpet for Capitol Police allowing people in,
again,
right through the front door.
The vast majority of the footage
evidence should have been released before, Abby.
Mr. Ramaswamy, the vast majority of the footage shows police officers being overrun
and I want to talk about one more
by
case.
violent
This is really important.
riders. That's
I'm going to give you some hard facts.
Of it shows.
So here's what entrapment
you
is.
Cherry pick.
I'm not cherry picking. If I may finish, Abby. If I may finish, Abby. I'm not cherry picking.
Examples.
He's absolutely cherry picking. Somehow, Vivek Ramaswamy, and I want you to follow me here for you MAGA supporters out there, is making the claim that because there was tear gas and rubber bullets were shot out, that somehow that means that the government was behind January 6th. It makes absolutely and positively no sense. Let me be very clear. The people who attacked police officers that day were not members of the FBI or CIA. The people who stormed the Capitol that day and committed very serious crimes were not FBI agents. Those were MAGA supporters, many of them from right-wing fringe groups. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. And Vivek Ramaswamy wants to take 200 hours of footage and say that because rubber bullets were shot into the crowd and because tear gas was shot into the crowd, that somehow that means it's an inside job? The hell is he talking about? And this is the most poignant part of this discussion, because Vivek Ramaswamy, again, is being pushed and asked, and Abby Phillips from CNN is doing the best job she can do. Vivek was on this show a few months ago. The man doesn't answer questions directly. When put in a corner and asked him to, I guess you could say, defend some of his ridiculous conspiracy theories, he doesn't answer the question. Abby Phillips continues to press him. Where is your evidence that January 6th was an inside job? He talks about everything else, but any evidence that would prove that. All he's talked about to this point in the conversation is tear gas and rubber bullets. The hell does that mean? That doesn't mean it was an inside job. And again, Abby Phillips is pressing him. Mr. Ramaswamy, or I think we should call him Alex Jones II. Where is your evidence that January 6th was an inside job?
3 people who were in an alleged plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer were acquitted at the end of trial because it was entrapment. That is, government agents put them up to do something they otherwise wouldn't have done. They gave them credit cards with spending limits of up to $5,000, encouraged them to buy munitions, plan something they weren't otherwise willing to plan. So much so, and I want people at home to know this, especially CNN viewers to know this, is that one of the jurors went to those defendants and apologized afterwards, gave him a hug, apologized, seeing what the government had put a poor guy up to.
There's a perfect example of look at the shiny object in the room, MAGA supporter, and let's not answer the question. What the hell does Gretchen Whitmer have to do with January 6th? What is he talking about? Abby Phillips is asking him for evidence. And there are people on social media right now that are saying no officers were attacked when literally there's video of officers being attacked, officers that went to the hospital. There's literally video of officers being beaten with their own batons, and yet there's people that are either ignorant to facts or just ignorant that don't seem to understand fact from fiction that officers were beaten that day. Their eyes attempted to be gouged out, sprayed with bear spray. But yet, there are people that will listen to Vivek Ramaswamy or other Republicans on Capitol Hill that say it was some sort of tourist visit, which it obviously wasn't. What it was an embarrassing day for this country. What it was a bunch of MAGA supporters, many of those people from right-wing fringe groups. By the way, that's not my opinion. It was proven in a court of law. And it was a sad day for this country, and it can't ever happen again. What we need is more accountability. So many of these people that were convicted said they did it because of Donald Trump. If you don't believe me, look at their statements and testimony in courtrooms in this country. Nobody forced them to go there, though. Nobody said you have to be there and you have to break the law. You have to attack police officers. You have to chant, hang Mike Pence. Nobody forced them to go there. It wasn't Antifa. It wasn't George Soros. Donald Trump incited that mob. Donald Trump is partially responsible for what took place on January 6th. And if you're one of those people that disagrees with me, let me ask you this question. Months before January 6th, if Donald Trump didn't say the election was stolen, months before January 6th, if he didn't say Joe Biden's cheated, the Democrats cheated, does January 6th still happen? Now, any reasonable person with a brain would say no. That's why Donald Trump is partially responsible for what took place that day. And I guarantee you we're going to have events like that happening again if he wins in 2024. I'm going to open up the phone lines now before we get to this fake electorate scheme coming up at the bottom of the hour. The number to call, 702-221-7283. And that number, if you would like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. 702-221-SAVE. There are people on social media, a few, saying that I am a paid actor. No, sir, I am not. No, sir. These are my opinions. Nobody's telling me what to say. And sadly, some people might not understand it, but these are actually facts. Fact. Over 140 officers were injured that day. Fact. There's no evidence that it was an inside job. Those are facts. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's start off with Jim. Jim, what's going on? Good. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And, you know, it's interesting, Jim, as you're speaking, there are those on social media watching this show that are saying, give me your facts. When I've repeated it, Jim, and you know this, over and over again, look at all the people that were proven guilty in a court of law. You can't get more proof than that. Are they claiming that all the judges are paid for by George Soros and it's all the Democrats? But yet when a Democrat is convicted of a crime, that's all legitimate. It's just like the election, isn't it, Jim? When a Republican wins an election, it must have been fair. When a Democrat is indicted or convicted, it must have been fair. But when a Republican is held to account, oh no, it's the Democrats. Let's attack the DOJ, right? When we have something like January 6th, let's blame Democrats. Because they're brainwashed. I think they're brainwashed. I mean, I don't even know what else to say, Jim. I think there's a lot of people out there that are brainwashed. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's really sad. I'm so sad to hear that. Jim, I've lost friendships. Luckily, I haven't lost any friendships with family members or, that's horrible. But I do know this, Jim, that there are people out there that have been brainwashed. And I know personally, I know people that have divorced. I know people that have, I've lost some friendships because of it. And listen, I have a lot of friends. I shouldn't say a lot, but I have friends of mine that are Trump supporters. But we can still have reasonable conversations. I'm not saying everybody. Right? Of course, yeah. And it's how do you have a conversation? Yeah. Sure.
Hey, that guy's a fucking asshole. Okay, Dad, not happening.
Well, I'll say this in closing, Jim. Unfortunately, there are certain people that you can't really talk to, you can't have conversations with. It's like, are you going to really have a serious conversation with somebody who thinks the earth is flat? The people out there that think January 6th was some sort of tourist visit, you can't really you can't really have conversations with people like that. And Vivek Ramaswamy
is they're like 30%. Oh, he's not.
Yeah.
35% of the population just sucks that Kool-Aid in like an IV.
They really do. Vivek Ramaswamy is very dangerous, and I'm going to be honest. I was probably way too nice to him when he came on this show a few months ago. I guarantee you, if he comes back, I won't be as nice. But we'll have to wait.
You're a journalist. You're a journalist. You're good at what you do.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I don't consider myself a journalist. I'm an opinionated talk show. So that's kind of you to say.
Of course.
I do try to get things right, though. I try to be factual. There's a difference between opinion and fact, right? Yeah.
Totally.
Jim, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much for calling in. Okay, brother. Appreciate that. Thank you. Jim's one of my favorite callers. He's a smart guy. And not because he agrees with me on stuff, by the way. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And again, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, now's the time to do it before we go to the bottom of the hour with our guest, Jon Ralston. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Who are we going to next? We're going to Dave. Dave, what's going on, man?
Dave Koken here. Really hot on Kevin Kruger after that win over Creighton.
Is this John F. Kennedy Jr. on the line? Mr. Kennedy. Oh, did we lose Mr. Kennedy? Am I wrong? Did that sound like John F. Kennedy Jr.? By the way, speaking of conspiracy theorists, John F. Kennedy Jr. is probably one of the biggest one of them around, by the way. If you're just joining us, and by the way, the number to call is 702-221-7283. And that number to call if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283, the number to call. If you're just joining us, Vivek Ramaswamy just recently did a town hall on CNN. And in that town hall, Abby Phillips questioned him and pushed him on his conspiracy theories. And in those conspiracy theories, Vivek Ramaswamy said that January 6th was an inside job. He said it on a debate stage a few weeks ago. He said it on a stage for the whole world to hear, the whole world. And Abby Phillips used his own words. And then Vivek Ramaswamy said, "Don't put words in my mouth." What are you talking about? January 6th was not an inside job. And for the people out there on social media that are saying it was, go ahead, call into the show, and tell me why you think it was an inside job. And I will treat you just like Abby Phillips treated Vivek Ramaswamy. Give me evidence. You see, folks, because you have a right to your own opinions, but you don't have a right to your own facts. There is literally zero evidence that January 6th was an inside job, because it wasn't an inside job. There's no evidence to prove that. And I get so frustrated with people that make those ridiculous claims that are unfounded. It's a lie. And Vivek Ramaswamy is a liar. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Carl. Carl is next up. What's up, Carl?
But listen, conspiracy theories is completely a psychological thing. It's somebody who has mentally gotten to the low point where they believe some kind of a ridiculous thing that can't be proven. So they have to come up with a conspiracy theory to try to prove their own mental condition, the problems they're having psychologically. They have to try to prove it. And they prove it by coming up with a conspiracy theory that try to make other people believe it.
What's even laughable, though, is, there are some conspiracy theorists out there. They'll say things, and then at least they'll own it. I don't know if that's good or bad. Vivek Ramaswamy is even worse than a conspiracy theorist because on a debate stage, he calls the events of what took place on January 6th, a quote, inside job. And then when he's questioned on it by Abby Phillips at CNN, he says, quote, don't put words in my mouth. So not only is he a conspiracy theorist, but he's a liar.
Well, people, once they bring forth a conspiracy theory, they have to own it.
Yeah.
By not owning it, you're calling your own self a liar.
Yeah.
You have to go along and ride with it to the end.
Yeah.
Like if Alex Jones, who said that he's ruined now because of what he said about all those children not being killed, they're only actors. And yet he can't change
You're
his
right,
mind.
Carl.
I'm
with you, man. I'm with you 100%, Carl. Carl, it's always good to hear from you. Appreciate the phone call, my friend. 702-221-7283. Let's go to JP. I believe JP is next on Pushing the Limits. Hello, JP.
Hey, what's up, bud?
Not much. How you doing? Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
I'm okay. I don't think it was a conspiracy theory, but I do think that it was partially set up.
By who?
And my proof, by Nancy Pelosi.
And where's your evidence that Nancy Pelosi helped set up January 6th?
Well, first of all, there is the video of her taken by her daughter, where she said, I'm glad this is happening. I want to punch Trump in the face. I'm probably going to go to jail. But I've been waiting for this forever.
Let's backtrack. Nancy Pelosi never said she was happy January 6th happened, so that's not true, sir.
No, I've heard it several times.
Okay, well,
the next thing is
well,
she also...
then
you
need to talk to your doctor.
Let me give you a couple
Sir,
Let me give you a couple examples,
hold
and
on
then
a
you
second.
can rebut me.
But wait, sir. I'm happy to give you the floor. But you just said something that is not true. Now, I don't know if you're schizophrenic if you hear voices, with all due respect. I'm going to say it again. Nancy Pelosi never said she was happy that January 6th happened. That is untrue, sir. I'm not going to call you a liar, but that's not true.
She said, I've been waiting for this for a long time.
She wasn't referring. You know what she meant?
Yes,
when
she was.
You know what she said? Okay, so now you're changing and moving the goalposts. First, she said she was happy.
Let me give you one other thing.
Hold on.
I want to talk for a second.
Okay, well, guess what? It's my show, not yours, so we're going to pod you down now. You just said Nancy Pelosi said, quote, she was happy January 6th happened, and then when I called you out on it because you're lying, then all of a sudden it's she was waiting for this to happen. You didn't finish the quote, MAGA. What she said was she thought that was going to happen. She thought that there would be a violent act in Washington, D.C., and the reason why she thought that is because of people like you who voted for Donald Trump and continue to defend him. Does that make any sense, sir? I'm trying to connect the dots for you, sir. And as we pod you back up, does that make any sense?
Not supply National Guard.
I'm sorry? Another
refused,
lie. Not
refused.
true.
It is not a lie.
Not true.
The fucking police chief went on.
Okay, now we're going to pod you down.
That.
See, MAGAs, they throw the F word around and conspiracy theories. Have a nice day, sir. You can't swear on the radio. And I know you get very angry and frustrated when I call you out with your lies. I know it's very frustrating for you, but I'm not going to hear your conspiracy theories. What is your name? Not going to do it. Number to call if you want to be a part of the show, 702-221-7283. But I'm not going to let people spout out lies on this show. Nancy Pelosi never said that she was happy that January 6th happened. That is a lie. All right, we're going to go to Ed. I believe Ed is next on Pushing the Limits. Hi, Ed. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind? Are we going to Ed? Okay. Number to call again if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283 is a part of the show. We're talking about conspiracy theories. We're talking about Vivek Ramaswamy, and I think we have several people on the line that are holding. So we're going to go to the next call. We're just waiting. Julie. Okay, we have Julie up next on Pushing the Limits. Okay. Is that right? Do we have Julie next? Okay. Julie is up next on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Julie. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hi. I'm Cuban America. And I came in 1999, right? And I am really concerned. I'm sorry about my broken English.
That's
my
okay.
second language,
No
okay?
problem. No problem.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. I am really concerned because of the path of this country. I escaped Castro's regime, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I lived 24 years on the Castro regime, and many of the people that I'm commenting here in Occupy Democrat, they know me, because they are always arguing with me. How can you tell us, please? How can you tell us that we went to the Capitol with only flags and pepper spray to overthrow the most powerful government in the world?
Well, I'm not saying that. First of all, I'm not saying that. Our law enforcement and our court system did. I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you were there, but I do know that over 1,000 people were convicted in a court of law.
No, I was not there.
Okay.
I was not there.
Okay, but
I was not there.
Okay, so are you making the claim that you don't think there are any weapons, or nobody went in there with any weapons? Is that the claim that you're making?
Well, the footage that was released, that were released recently, it showed clearly that many people were abused by the police.
Many people were. Okay, did you? Maybe you might have missed the video where.
Have you watched the video?
I've watched all the videos, and I will also tell you this: did you miss the videos where some of those insurrectionists were hitting police with their own batons and spraying them?
It was really bad. Okay, listen. It was really
well, I'm not asking you whether it was bad or not. You're making the claim that there weren't people there that committed crimes. I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Crime. What kind of crime? Riots? Black Lives Matter.
How about attacking a police officer? How about that? Is that a crime?
Let me explain myself, please.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. I got to go to the next caller. You're not doing a very good job of explaining yourself when you're making the claim that nobody committed any crimes on January 6th. Have a nice day. I appreciate the call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Pam. Pam is next on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Pam.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Sure.
You know who I am, an ex-mega granny that spent 60 days in prison.
I did not know that.
Well, I want to debunk Nancy Pelosi, that propaganda that's going on out there. Just go to my YouTube channel, and I debunked and put out the facts that Nancy was not responsible for the National Guard that day, and that's already been proven.
Well, for anybody
for
anybody that can spell the word fact, they would agree with you.
Yeah, but they don't want to hear anything we're saying. You know, I don't know if you're familiar with me, but I'm pushing back on every media. I've been on CNN, and now I went on French 24, an international show, because I'm trying to explain how Trump turned MAGA into a cult. Trump is a cult leader, period. And they have been so loved. They've been love bombed by him, you know, and gaslighted, that they are so brainwashed. They're not going to listen to us. But we just keep throwing back those facts.
I've seen you on CNN. I know who you are, and I'm glad that you keep doing what you're doing. The problem that I have, and it's a problem that you have too, is that you can speak truth to fiction, and you have a percentage of MAGA where they're not going to listen. They're so brainwashed. You heard Trump himself say, if I shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, they're still going to vote for me. Unfortunately, we can preach and preach and preach facts until the cows come home, and there are just a certain part of the population that are MAGA supporters that just won't listen.
Yeah, and that's okay. But you know what? I wouldn't listen either. I was brainwashed. But however, when the facts kept coming and coming, and I decided to get a little bit of critical thinking and research, they were lying.
Right.
And that did it. It's like everything they're lying about the January 6th defendants are not getting due process. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Everything they throw out there has been debunked and proven. Yeah, and you're right.
It is.
But see, but we don't stop. We keep pushing back with their narrative, even with the smear campaign that's going on out there about me. I mean, they're going as far as docking me, getting birth certificates from my family. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, it's just like, what made you believe Donald Trump, though? Because from the start, you were a Trump supporter. What bought you into Donald Trump?
Actually, I was always on the fence with him. I think family and friends that I have. I mean, I have friends with 2 PhDs.
Right.
You're supposed to listen to them, right?
Right.
But they've been programmed too, and they want their agenda. They want this agenda, the Project 2025. They want Trump to, not Trump, any president.
Yeah.
It's the Republicans we got to worry about.
It's amazing to me. You're right. Isn't it amazing that there are people out there that are Trump supporters that actually believe he cares about you, that he doesn't just care about himself, he cares about America, and he loves America, when his entire life contradicts that. All he's cared about is himself. He would throw his own kids under the bus if he had to, right? So, I mean...
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, but all I can say to you is keep up the good fight. You're a good woman. Keep doing what you're doing. We need more people like you out there. So I appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brad.
Appreciate you. I've seen her on CNN before, and I'm glad she found the show. I appreciate her calling in. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And again, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. We're talking about Vivek Ramaswamy, his CNN town hall, which was a joke, not because of Abby Phillips interrupting him, because the guy wouldn't answer a question straight and spread false, just lies, conspiracy theories. All right, let's go to Ed. Ed is next on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Ed.
Hey, how you doing? Enjoying your show.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question, or how you feel about Trump claims he has a blanket immunity as president, and Joe Biden's president. So if that's true, what prevents Joe Biden from just eliminating this problem?
Well, what do you mean by eliminate? Explain that to me. What do you mean by that?
Making it go away. Take it any way you want it.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to. I can't go there with you, right? Joe Biden.
I know.
I can't go there with you. And by the way, I would never condone that either if that's where you're going. What Joe Biden can do is what he's continuing to do, calling out the MAGA Republicans, reasonable Republicans, calling out the MAGA Republicans, more Chris Christie's of the world, more Mitt Romney's and Liz Cheney's and Adam Kinzinger's. I want to hear more Republicans calling out Donald Trump, going back to Reagan Republican values, because that's what I believe are the good Republicans out there. Call out the bad Republicans, and you know what? Those are Republicans that I could vote for. I got to be honest with you. I'm getting more and more impressed, even though I'm not sure I'm at the point where I would vote for her, but I think Nikki Haley is a decent human being. I like Chris Christie, and I like, the fact that he's on the right side of history these days.
Yes, I agree, but I think the Republican Party needs to fail because there's such a small percentage that know what the Republican Party was supposed to be. That
these are some very weird times we're living in right now, my friend, and I'm worried. And the reason why I'm worried is because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's no chance that Donald Trump's going to be the president in 2024. I can't sit here and say that. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But I'm worried because there are a lot of brainwashed people in this country. And,
absolutely.
And so I'm worried. Maybe I wasn't as worried a year ago. I'm worried now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate.
I think we'll be okay as long as the court cases go through before the election.
I hope so. I hope you're right because I'm a little worried, to be quite honest with you. I appreciate the call, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Number to call, 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-SAVE. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, there is a fake electorate scheme where 6 Republicans in the state of Nevada have officially been indicted. Yes, that's right, including the chair of the Republican Party, Mr. Ronald McDonald, I like to call him Mike McDonald, has been indicted. We're going to talk about that. We'll take a quick break. We'll take more of your phone calls on the other side, 702-221-7283. We'll be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday. Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate it. First segment, we were talking about Vivek Ramaswamy and his CNN town hall with Abby Phillips, where MAGA Republicans are saying he destroyed her and she was interrupting him. He didn't answer a question directly when he said that January 6th was an inside job, and he provided literally zero evidence. I had a few MAGA callers, which I welcome, but if you're going to call into a show, don't lie and don't say things that are just completely unfounded and untrue. I had one caller that claimed that Nancy Pelosi said she was glad that January 6th happened. That's an absolute lie. That never happened. What is your name? And some people would say, well, let the MAGA talk. I don't like to allow people to continue to spew lies and misinformation on this show. We can have a disagreement. If you think Donald Trump was a great president, tell me why. I'll disagree with you, but give me your examples. That's an opinion. I would disagree with you. But when you just make up lies about Nancy Pelosi and say she was responsible for Capitol Police that day, you blame Mitch McConnell, you blame everybody but the people that are actually responsible, then you just are completely, I guess you could use the term complicit. I could use other words. And you don't know what you're talking about. All right, let's take some phone calls. 702-221-7283. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? I just found your show today for the first time, man, and I love it.
Oh, I appreciate that, Anthony. Thank you very much.
I don't know. The MAGA people, I don't know if they are really that I won't say slow, but everything they try to put on President Biden is the same thing that is what Trump has actually done and is doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think Donald Trump is in the bunker. I think Donald Trump has Alzheimer's. I think Donald Trump is corrupt. I think Donald Trump has ruined the economy. I think Donald Trump is a narcissist, and I think it's the Donald Trump crime family. So I would agree with you.
Amen. But what get me is the people that I don't know if they actually buy all this stuff or they just don't like liberals and Democrats.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. You know, I have people on social media right now that are saying I have Trump derangement syndrome. Anthony, here's what I want you to do. The next time a MAGA says you have Trump derangement syndrome, tell them they have TFS. Do you know what that is?
What is that?
Trump fellatio syndrome.
Well, you know what? I think they got Biden derangement syndrome because they say Biden is tearing the economy up when the economy is actually doing better. I'm in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And I'm actually doing better under Biden than I was under Trump.
You know what? I believe you. And let me take it a step further, Anthony. Those who, when Trump said I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'd still vote for me, he's talking about those people who have Trump derangement syndrome. If you don't think Donald Trump is a criminal, you have Trump derangement syndrome. If you don't think Donald Trump is partially responsible for January 6th, you have Trump derangement syndrome. If you think Donald Trump is the next Messiah, then you have Trump derangement syndrome. So I think the people out there that say the Democrats and the liberals, or even people like me that are anti-Trump, have Trump derangement syndrome are the same people that wear the Donald Trump knee pads every day. They're the ones with the syndrome, not me, not you.
That's right. But I got one other thing to say.
Yes, sir.
Now, the MAGA people, they better be careful. And my grandparents used to always say, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
If Trump gets back into office, they're not going to him and his rich buddies and his family. They're gonna do fine. But the people that really buy into this stuff and believe it, because it's all about power.
Yeah.
With the politicians, with Trump and the Republican Party, it's all about power. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about law enforcement.
Well,
They don't care about anything.
Donald Trump said he wanted to rip up parts of the Constitution a few weeks ago, and I have people in studio and Republicans that are like, I'm a constitutionalist and I'm a big Donald Trump supporter. The man said he was going to rip up parts of the Constitution. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, Anthony. It's comical.
It is. But see, they want to start with the liberals. Now, once they get the liberals down, and the people that's following the MAGA people, if they can't do him any good, if they can't help him and benefit him and his family, he's going to turn his back on them just as soon as he get the Democrats out of the way.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. And unfortunately, we're down a very slippery slope and a dangerous path. Not a lot of people out there want to see Trump versus Biden. I'm certainly not one of those people. I don't want to see those two people on a debate stage. But at the same time, it looks like that's where we're headed. And it's sad that we can't find better candidates that are running for office. I mean, I'll even include Joe Biden. I don't think Joe Biden's a bad guy, but he's too old, and we need somebody in there that's younger.
He is, but I'll take the lesser of two evils.
I'm with you. Hey, listen, I'm with you. I made a very big mistake in 2016. I didn't vote for Trump, but I also didn't vote for Hillary Clinton because I didn't want either of them to be the next president. I'll be the first one to admit I made a very big mistake. I made a big mistake. Hillary Clinton would have been a much better president. We wouldn't have had a January 6th insurrection. I believe she would have dealt with COVID much better. And I made a very, very big mistake. But guess what? I ain't making that mistake again. Anthony, I appreciate you finding the show, and I appreciate you calling into the program. You call back anytime, my friend, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to hear from you.
And I'm going to... Yes, sir. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Be blessed.
You too.
Be blessed.
Too. Have a great
All
weekend.
right.
702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, that number is 702-221-SAVE, even though I can't save all of you. Let's go to Edward. Do we not have Edward? Who's next? Jim? We have Jim up next. Jim, what's going on?
Hey, I'm sorry to call again. I just got my daughter is going to law school, and she heard me say one time the Kool-Aid, and I was born in 1967. So Jim Jones. I don't know if people out there realize what that phrase means. And I explained to her, I didn't want to show you this when you were a kid because Jim Jones took his congregation from Detroit down to Ghana and made them drink the Kool-Aid, which was poison. And she goes, I never knew that. She said, I always heard that term, don't drink the Kool-Aid, but she didn't actually know the reference. And I think that's very appropriate.
Yeah.
I think you can't worship somebody like a god.
No, you shouldn't. And, I think there are people out there in society. Listen, it's not just politicians. There are people out there that look up to celebrities like they're God.
Correct.
And that's dangerous. You shouldn't, listen, there's something called a role model or whatever. You think about a family member, your dad, your grandfather, your grandmother, whatever the case may be, and think of those people as idols or people that you look up to, that you respect. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But when you look at a politician, no matter who it is, Republican or Democrat, and you think of them as some sort of god, then there's something mentally wrong with you. You're mentally ill.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
You cannot follow a human being. I mean, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in Jesus in a way. But you can't follow false idols.
No, you can't.
It will.
I agree with you 150%. Jim, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate it.
I thought it was a weird. Just after we talked, my daughter called me. What is Kool-Aid drinking?
You're right. You're right, my friend. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. Number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283. So we have this Nevada grand jury, and this happened this week, where 6 Republicans have been accused of a fake electorate scheme to try to overturn the outcome of the 2020 election. There are people here in Las Vegas that know who Mike McDonald is. There are some that defend him. If you don't know who Mike McDonald is, as I like to call him, Ronald McDonald, he's a clown, and I believe he's a criminal. And he is one of those people that has been indicted. So what does this mean? Well, what we know is that Attorney General Aaron Ford said in a statement that the indictments are the product of a long and thorough investigation. And he said, as we pursue the prosecution, I am confident that our judicial system will see justice done. Now, the fake electors, as I mentioned, involved the state GOP or Clark County GOP charged with offering a false instrument for filing and uttering a forged instrument. Those 2 categories of felonies have penalties that range from 1 year up to 4 or 5 years in prison. We're talking about Mike McDonald and 5 other of his cronies. Make no mistake about it. What these 6 individuals did, just like many others throughout the country that I would hope eventually will be prosecuted, what many of these people have done, and what many of these people I would imagine believe, like Mike McDonald, I would assume that many of these people understand that Donald Trump did not win the 2020 election. I would imagine most of them know that, unless they're so brainwashed that they can't even admit it. What they did is they are basically saying to you, I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat, they're saying that your vote doesn't matter. They're saying that they're unhappy with the outcome of a free and fair election, that they're willing to, in this case, in my opinion anyway, based on the indictment, break the law and erase your votes with fake electorates to try to overturn the outcome of a free and fair election. These 6 individuals will be prosecuted. I don't think there's any chance that they won't. Probably plea deals. What does it say about the Republican Party? I'm asking all of you this question. On a smaller scale and on a larger scale. You have the face of the Republican Party, the orange face of the Republican Party, if I add, that is facing 91 felony counts. You have the Nevada GOP chair that is facing very serious felony counts where he could be actually going to jail. When was the last time that we had all these members of the Democratic Party that were facing prison time? When was the last time, in my lifetime anyway, the last 43 years, where we had all these Democrats that were facing jail time? The faces of the party. Don't tell me Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton might have lied about his relations with Monica Lewinsky. Bill Clinton might not be a great guy personally, right? But the front runner and the leader of the Republican Party today, because that's who he is. I know there are some Republicans out there that don't want to admit that. Donald Trump is the leader of the Republican Party. He's the face of the party, facing 91 felony counts. His cronies, like Rudy Giuliani, are going to be filing for bankruptcy. You have these fake electorate schemes, not just in the state of Nevada, but in other states as well, led by, you guessed it, MAGA Republicans. The GOP House Speaker is one of them. The guy who can't separate church from state, the guy who has an accountability partner, his son, when it comes to pornography. If that's not weird enough, I don't know what is. They're throughout the Republican Party today. These MAGA Republicans were willing. Why is it that Jim Jordan has defied a subpoena? Why won't he answer questions as to who he spoke to on January 6th? Why won't he testify under oath? And these are the same people that didn't want Hunter Biden to testify publicly. Why is it that in just the last few months, Donald Trump has refused to testify in some of his own cases in a courtroom? Rudy Giuliani refuses to testify, yet they want to call Hunter Biden a coward? Hunter Biden was in front of the House chambers just the other day. I'm here. I'm going to answer any question under oath. And the Republicans said, no, we don't want that to happen. Why is that? MAGA Republicans out there, I'm asking you, why is that? Why is it that when Democrats have to face the music, or in this case, Hunter Biden, he is willing to do so under oath publicly, but yet when Donald Trump has the opportunity in a courtroom to do that or testify about January 6th, whatever, he refuses to do so. Why is it that Jim Jordan continues to defy a subpoena? Wasn't it Donald Trump that said himself, if you plead the fifth, you're probably guilty? I believe it was Donald Trump that made that claim, wasn't it? Donald Trump's the one who said that. But then when it's them, they plead the fifth. Don't you find that kind of interesting? I'm just throwing that out there. It was literally Hunter Biden that was willing to testify under oath publicly. Republicans didn't want him to do it. Why? What are Republicans afraid of? I think I know the answer to that. I'll ask you, but I would say they're afraid of the truth. That's what I would say. All right, number to call again if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. And again, that number, 702-221-SAVE, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. So as I mentioned before and as I mention again, these fake electorate schemes were happening throughout the country. The chickens are coming home to roost here in the state of Nevada. 6 people have been indicted, MAGA Republicans, including the GOP chair here in the state of Nevada. The word accountability is the word that I think of, the word accountability. And again, there are people on social media that are saying that I have TDS. No, the people that can't spell the word fact and the people that have no sense of reality and that are complicit, that look at Orange Turd as their hero, those are the people that have Trump derangement syndrome, not me. I have facts syndrome. Sorry if you don't like facts for some of my MAGA friends out there. I speak the truth. I'm sorry you don't know what truth is and you can't spell the word fact, and you would rather talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. You would rather talk about drag queens and how they're the biggest threat to children out there in this country. You want to talk about something that virtually doesn't exist, like critical race theory. You want to talk about gender ideology. Oh, yeah. Vivek Ramaswamy did it on social media just yesterday. I'm going to read something for you because I think this is really important. This is what Vivek Ramaswamy said on Twitter. He's one of the top Republicans right now, at least one of the top faces in the party. Vivek Ramaswamy said in regards to LGBT and that sort of stuff, he said, quote, gay movement, the sex you're attracted to is hardwired at birth, even though there's no gay gene. Trans movement, your sex is entirely fluid, even though there is a definitive sex chromosome. LGBT movement, you must believe both of those things at once or else you're a bigot. Obviously, that's a ridiculous statement. Vivek Ramaswamy, this is the same guy who thinks if you're trans, you're all mentally ill. That's what Vivek Ramaswamy thinks. So, what Vivek Ramaswamy should probably do is you should probably talk to some people that are gay. Okay? Most gay people in this country didn't wake up one day and said, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to be attracted to men. That's not how it works. Many people that I know that are gay knew that they were gay when they were 5 or 6 years old. So it's either one of two things. Either Vivek Ramaswamy is completely ignorant, or I'd say the latter, number 2, he's just appealing to the base. And we know the base of MAGA supporters out there are anti-gay, anti-transgender. Most people who support Donald Trump are people that are against gay marriage. Most people that support Donald Trump are against people that are transgender. They think a gay pride parade is sinful. So Vivek Ramaswamy doesn't believe that. Vivek Ramaswamy does not believe what he says. I know that might be hard for some of you to believe that there are some politicians out there that don't believe what they say. Vivek Ramaswamy knows that in most situations being gay is not a choice. But he says it anyway. And he says it because he knows that it will appeal to the MAGA base. He put that on his social media platform yesterday, and Lauren Boebert was slut-shaming Hunter Biden. The same woman who literally performed a sex act in a theater watching the play Beetlejuice with kids around, and we all saw that video, and we all saw what she did. What would happen if there was a video of a Democrat, a prominent Democrat in office, who went to a public theater performing a sex act on another individual? What would Lauren Boebert be saying about that? But these people call themselves really good Christians. These people call themselves people of faith, wholesome Christians, wholesome people. How could you vote for somebody like that? How could you vote for somebody that says one thing and then does something completely different? How? Lauren Boebert talking about somebody in Hunter Biden who, by the way, was never a politician, just a regular citizen. It just so happens that his father is Joe Biden. Why is it that they go after Hunter Biden and they're upset? I'll tell you why. I think Hunter Biden said it best. Because they're trying to ruin his father. Because they're desperate. What does James Comer come up with in this Republican-led investigation into Hunter Biden? What does he come up with? Well, he came up with the fact that Hunter Biden is Joe Biden's son. He's come up with that. He's come up with the fact that Joe Biden had a $200,000 loan with his brother. He did come up with that. What have the Republicans come up with when it comes to Joe Biden and this investigation and this possible impeachment or this impeachment inquiry? What have they come up with? 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Damon. Damon, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Brian? You know what's funny to me, the latest one about their hypocrisy. You hear about the head of the Republican Party in Florida and his wife?
Tell me, refresh my memory.
Well, the Republican dude, he runs the Republican Party. His wife is Karens for Liberty, I think that's the name of them. And he's being accused of raping a woman that had sex with him and his wife, but he showed up by himself and she didn't want to do it, so he raped her. Those are charges he's facing.
Yes, correct. Yep.
This woman all day is banning books about homosexuality.
Correct.
When she getting down herself.
You are 100% correct. The word hypocrisy is a word I use all the time. Don't you find it interesting, Damon, that some people out there, not all, but some of the people out there that are religious zealots, the people out there that preach to God every day, the people out there that, speak about being a good, wholesome person and religious people are sometimes the people that commit the most sins, right? Some of the most religious people in this country on the alt-right are the ones that I think have the Trump derangement syndrome, right? Donald Trump can do no wrong. Can you name a bigger sinner?
Nope.
But yet these are some of the people that preach their religion to us every single day. They want to protect our children, but yet they want to take pictures with their AR-15s and give their 6-year-olds handling AR-15s as a Christmas card. It's disgusting.
Yeah, but the thing is, Brian, you remember when I told you I want me one of these Republican women. I can lie to her all day, do this, do that, and she willing to get down with another woman. I'm looking for these Republican women, Brian.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can understand why you would say that, Damon, but these are strange times we're living in, my friend, and the next year is going to be a wild ride. There's certainly no question about that. But moving forward, I'm going to continue to do what I try to do, which is call out, as you said, hypocrisy within the Republican Party. There are good Republicans out there. I think they're few and far between in 2023. And all we can do is go to the voter box, my friend, and go to the polls and vote.
Amen, Brian. Keep up the good work.
Thanks,
brother.
Damon. Good to hear from you, my friend. 702-221-7283. Again, that number, 702-221-SAVE. I believe we're going to Dave, who is next. Dave, what's going on?
Not much. How's it going there?
Doing okay, my friend, but thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Well, you're new. You just popped up on YouTube, and you immediately caught my attention.
I'm sorry to hear that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I've been watching I can't think of that other show.
Ben Shapiro?
No, not Shapiro.
Oh, okay.
Or Marcellus or something like that. Anyhow,
yep.
I'd like to take us backward in time just a little bit. I'm a 76-year-old American history teacher.
Okay.
You mind?
No, go ahead.
My brother, who is a staunch Republican, and we are on the outs, and a lot of families I know are on the outs with each other because I'm just going to lay it out there, because of Donald Trump and the way that he has divided this country. Families have been separated.
Yep. And
my brother looks at me one day after Trump had been elected, much to the horror of most of America. He looks at me and he goes, "I don't understand why you just won't give him a chance. Why don't you just give him a chance? Let him at least try to give him a chance." And I looked at my brother. And I said, "Well, I can tell you why if you really want to hear why." And my brother goes, "Go ahead." And I said, "Because for 8 years, and this is going back in time, for 8 years from day one, Fox News battered the Obama administration." Correct. And I said, "Your side, the Republicans, didn't give him 1 ounce of relief for the 8 years that he was president, and they tore his Affordable Care Act apart, upside down and inside out, and made it look Republican. I said, so that's why. I said, 8 years we went through them being the daughters being compared to animals, his wife being called this and that and the other. And I said, so if you're wondering why we have low tolerance, there you are.
You know what? It's such a good point that you just made, Dave. I'm even going to take it a step further. When Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton, I didn't like Donald Trump. I didn't vote for him. However, when he went into the White House, if you remember, Obama visited him, and he seemed like a very tame, almost shocked Donald Trump. I said to myself, you know what? Maybe we're going to get a different Donald Trump when he becomes president. And I said in my head, and I said on the air, let's give him a chance. Let's see what he can do. But clearly, he is a malignant narcissist, attacking everybody that disagrees with him, and he divided this country. And the same people during the 8 years of Obama, which you were talking about and you explained so eloquently, that said that Obama divided the country, are the same people that would vote for Donald Trump again that thinks he brings the country together. It's absurd.
It is beyond comprehension for most of us, how easily brainwashing can happen. Yeah. And of course, they point. I wore a T-shirt one time on a cruise I went on with my wife that said, it was a red T-shirt that said "Make America Read Again."
That's funny, actually.
And
got to give that to Floyd Mayweather. Oh wait, that was a cheap shot.
This lady came up to me in the dining hall, and she said, "I love your T-shirt." And I go, "Oh yeah, well, thank you." And she said, "I love the message." And I go, "Yeah." I said, "What do you think the message is?" And she said, "Well, duh. Obviously, it's about, the Democrats." And I just, my bottom jaw just dropped to the floor.
Can I ask you something? You're a history teacher. I wanted to ask you this. All this nonsense from the far right about critical race theory being taught in our schools. When I grew up, I wasn't taught critical race theory. Maybe there's a couple professors in some colleges that are teaching it, but they're making it sound like our children are being indoctrinated, critical race theory. You're a history teacher. Are you teaching critical race theory?
Yeah, there's no such thing as critical race theory. Mm-hmm. Absolutely no such thing. Read Huckleberry Finn sometime, okay? Read To Kill a Mockingbird sometime. You know what? There's no such thing as critical race theory. Mm-hmm. There is only teaching the truth, and the history teachers who I taught with had that sign, the typical historical sign on the wall. If you don't learn from history, you're going to repeat it. And, there's no such thing. They just made up this expression that can fall under a certain category that says, oh, you don't want to hurt white people's feelings because, geez, if we didn't do it, it was our great-grandfather that did it. So why are you pointing the finger at us?
Culture wars. It's like Candace Owens. I can't stand her.
It's all made up.
Yeah, Candace Owens wants to talk about critical race theory, and it's interesting because she also makes some idiotic claims. Like she'll always say, why are all these transgenders in society now? Why are all these gay people here? Any person with a brain would understand the reason why it appears as though there's more transgenders now than there were maybe 10 years ago is because it's more socially accepted now. There were a lot of Candace Owens out there, more at least 5 or 10 years ago. Being gay, being transgender is more socially accepted now. It doesn't mean that they weren't out there back then. They just didn't feel as comfortable in their skin and being out there and being who they are. Why is it so hard for people to understand that?
Well, Renee Richards set the bar for that when she played Billie Jean King, and she got her butt beat by Billie Jean King. But nevertheless, that's the first time I think when America really was aware. Hey, what's going on? There are people who aren't satisfied with their gender, and they want to become the gender that their brain's telling them to become.
Right.
But, yeah, it's been with us. It's been with us all the way back to biblical times. It just wasn't talked about. And I read a stat one time that said at least 10% of the population in every culture is homosexual.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. And whether or not we make homosexuals hide in closets because they're homosexual, or whether we get them out there and say, hey, you know, this is me, and there's not much you can do about it except
and it's not,
I'm going to continue to be me.
The Pete Buttigiegs of the world, there are people obviously more certainly on the left in the Democratic Party that are gay, because I believe the party is more socially acceptable people like that. And then people on the right, I think they're afraid to be who they are. And that's really sad, and it's unfortunate.
You're absolutely right. And the ones that are gay that are in Republican families, of which I know 2 or 3, are made to feel like it's not quite the right thing to do, and it's just a sad situation.
Well, Dave,
I appreciate you talking with me.
Dave,
I don't want to take up all of your time.
No, thank you for doing what you're doing, Dave. Keep up the good work, my friend. Thank you for being a history teacher and teaching people actually facts. Doesn't sound like you're indoctrinating kids. Appreciate you, Dave. Thank you so much.
Only with the truth.
Yes. Let's indoctrinate our kids with the truth. Thank you, Dave. Good to hear from you, my friend.
That's the new American slogan. I indoctrinate me with the truth. Thanks for talking.
Yeah, you're the best, Dave. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
I vote Dave for president. I don't care how old he is. Dave's my guy. That guy's awesome. Call back anytime, Dave. Glad you found the show. Number to call, by the way, 702-221-7283. I'm going to have a little fun now, because not that I haven't been having fun since the show started, but I've never been a big fan of Meghan McCain. Utmost respect for her late father, John McCain, war hero, and I feel like one of the best moments in my lifetime from a political standpoint was when he was running for president against Barack Obama, and there was a ignorant lady in the crowd, ignorant racist lady in the crowd, who takes the mic and calls Barack Obama an Arab, and just really ignorant statements, right? McCain takes that mic out of her hand, and he says, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Barack Obama is a decent man. He's a good family man. We just happen to disagree on policy. Donald Trump would never do that. Many MAGA Republicans in office today, or running for office, would never do that. And at that moment, I said, yes, this man's a war hero. Yes, he risked his life for this country, and I have the utmost respect for anybody. Listen, even Ron DeSantis. I'm not a Ron DeSantis fan, but of course I respect his service. I said, John McCain is a good man, and if he becomes president, he's going to be a good president, regardless of Sarah Palin. I think his daughter's an embarrassment. Meghan McCain, who is no longer on The View, is, to me at least, the definition of somebody who was born into celebrity status, didn't work hard didn't have to work hard anywhere. She had some internship at a movie company, one of the movie studios, and then all of a sudden she gets a job on The View. And Ana Navarro has been calling her out for a while now, since she left the show, about being born into this family and not working hard and being a spoiled brat, so to speak. So somebody on YouTube put together a pretty good video of this, and I'm gonna play for you a little bit of what Ana Navarro had to say on The View, and a little bit of his commentary, and then a little bit of what we're talking about when it comes to Meghan McCain. Have a listen to this.
Nobody has an issue with a Gwyneth Paltrow or a Liza Minnelli or a Mitt Romney. These are people who may have started off as a Nepo baby, who may have started off with doors opening because of who their father or their mother was, but who worked, who've earned it. Yeah. The people who give Nepo babies a bad name...
Are you ready for it? This Kraken has some bite.
...are the people who start every sentence with my father.
Well, that sounds familiar. Like, really familiar. Like even someone who used to be on The View.
My father, 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 my father
are the people who are talented dolts.
My father, my father, my father, my father, my father, my father's my father, my father, my father, my father, my father.
And instead of being humble and grateful for the opportunities they are given because they won the ovarian lottery.
My father, my father, my father, my father, my father, my father, my father's my father.
Are toxic brats entitled and privileged.
My father, my father, my father's my father, my father's my father, my father, my father, my father, my father.
Who make everybody's life hell because they know they can't be fired because of who they are. Yeah. Okay.
Amen. Amen, Anna Navarro. She is 150% correct. We all know somebody like that in our life that was maybe born into money or born into a certain type of status. Maybe it's somebody that is a CEO of a company that you worked for who you can't stand, somebody that's a talentless clown that didn't have to work hard to be where they are today. And Meghan McCain is the poster child of Nepo babies. So I went on social media today tagging Meghan McCain with that audio clip, because Meghan McCain went on social media today saying she's going to talk to her attorneys about a possible lawsuit. Oh, one thing, though. Anna Navarro didn't mention your name, you dummy. But so I went on her social media, and I said, nothing they did is against the law. You're not going to get a defamation suit because they didn't mention your name. And even if they did, they're entitled to their opinion. They're not defaming you. They didn't like working with you. And I agree. What has Meghan McCain done in her life? What has she done in her life that you think she deserves a seat on The View? You can say what you want about The View. She interned for 6 months at some movie company, some production movie company. That's it. She has no resume other than being the daughter of John McCain. And Anna Navarro eloquently pointed that out. So I went on social media and I said that, and I was blocked by her today on social media, on Twitter, within 45 seconds of tweeting that out. Now, usually, unless somebody threatens me, unless somebody's, making racist, anti-Semitic comments or those types of things, I don't usually block people. It does happen, but I usually don't do that. Meghan McCain is the type of person is when you set her straight, and when you deal with some, not all, but when you deal with some of these Nepo babies, they're around yes people their whole life. Yes, Donald Trump being one of them. And when you challenge them on anything, these Nepo babies get very, very defensive. When you call out these Nepo babies, the Meghan McCains of the world, who is absolutely a Nepo baby. Nobody would know who Meghan McCain is if her father wasn't John McCain. We all know that 150%. Now, I have a lot of respect for Gwyneth Paltrow, regardless of who her family is, because she's proven she's a very successful woman, a great actress. I think she's a really good actress. Maybe great is the wrong word, but she's a really good actress. What is Meghan McCain good at besides saying, my daddy, my daddy, my daddy? Does Meghan McCain have any good takes? Would you consider Meghan McCain a really distinguished and intelligent political pundit? Is there anybody out there that would say Meghan McCain was really good on The View? She's terrible. She interrupts. She's loud. She doesn't understand anything about foreign policy. She doesn't understand anything about policy. Even her father's opinions or policies. All she does on occasion is attack Donald Trump because Donald Trump was so terrible to her family. And yes, I will defend her for that. I know people personally who have been on The View, and they told me that Meghan McCain couldn't have been worse to them personally. So Meghan McCain now has said that she's talking to her attorneys and she's considering legal action against Anna Navarro and The View. First of all, last I checked, you probably need to say somebody's name, and you can't prove that what Anna Navarro said isn't true. Meghan McCain, in fact, to the contrary, Meghan McCain has taken advantage of who her father is. That's not against the law, by the way. But if people like Meghan McCain and other Nepo babies out there want to go after Hunter Biden, then maybe they should look at themselves in the mirror. Look at Matt Gaetz, DUI Matt Gaetz. We all know who his father was, a politician. And during that time, Matt Gaetz got some DUIs. And he got that slap on the wrist because Matt Gaetz was and still is a Nepo baby. Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., as I like to call them, Uday and Kuse, Ivanka Trump, have they ever been held to account? What have they accomplished in their life? Those are what we call, ladies and gentlemen, Nepo babies. And when you get half a billion dollar company from your father, in this case, Donald Trump, was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Donald Trump is also the definition and the poster child of a Nepo baby. Now, if somebody could tell me what Meghan McCain is good at, besides spouting out nonsense on Twitter, then tell me. I'd love to hear you. What are her talents? What is she good at? Even Republicans that can't stand The View, and there probably are a lot of them out there because The View certainly leans way to the left, even though Abraham is certainly not a Republican. She speaks the truth, and I understand that there's a lot of Republicans out there today that can't spell the word fact. I have sympathy for you. But yeah, The View leans to the left. There's no question about that. They had Hasselbeck, who I think was actually better than Meghan McCain. But tell me, what did Meghan McCain do in her life to deserve that seat? What did Meghan McCain do in her life that would lead you to believe that she had the experience, she had the knowledge to speak for Republicans on The View? Really, I'm open ears. I'd love to hear it. There's a reason why she's not there, and there's a reason why she was terrible on that show. Because she doesn't know what she's doing. She's not very intelligent, and I don't think she's a very good person. Listen, her mother, very fine lady, classy lady. Her late father, John McCain, war hero, decent man, a man of decency. He'd be rolling around in his grave right now if he knew what was going on within the Republican Party, and he knew it was headed in that direction. He warned the Republican Party. He knew this is what was going on, and I know he would defend his daughter till the cows come home. Every father should. I get that. Meghan McCain is not going to be filing a lawsuit. She's not going to get any money, and she should just go away. Meghan McCain is a clown. She's a trust fund baby. She is a Nepo baby. And she happens to be a Nepo baby that is talentless. Meghan McCain and Donald Trump Jr., Meghan McCain and Eric Trump, Meghan McCain and Jared Kushner have a lot in common. The only difference is Meghan McCain's parents respected people. Is there anybody out there who respects Jared Kushner? Is there anybody out there really who thinks that Jared Kushner deserved to be in the position he was in within the Trump administration? Really, is there one person out there that thinks he was the right guy for the job? Well, apparently the Saudis did, right, because they paid him over $2 billion. But Republicans don't want to talk about that, do they? No. Republicans don't want to talk about the fact that Jared Kushner received over $2 billion from the Saudis and that Ivanka Trump received over $600 million from trademarks she got from China. No, Republicans don't want to talk about that. They just want to talk about Hunter Biden. They want to talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. The fact that he received $50,000 a month from Burisma. And they want to try to connect the dots and make the claim that Joe Biden was a part of Hunter Biden's business dealings. By the way, there's zero evidence to prove that. Oh, but this person testified this. That person testified that. Where's your evidence? Were they under oath? Of course the answer is no. Hunter Biden's not a good guy. He's had his demons, drug addiction, which, by the way, I would never mock. Just I wouldn't mock Donald Trump Jr. if he's snorting cocaine, which I suspect he probably does. But I wouldn't make fun of him for that. There are a lot of people in this country that have serious drug problems, and clearly Hunter Biden was one of them, and I'm glad he's doing better now. But isn't it interesting that when a Democrat is suffering through something, when somebody like Fetterman has a stroke, I'm gonna explain it like this, and you guys can tell me out there on social media, or if you want to call in, whether you agree or not. I'm going to give you a fundamental difference between Republicans and Democrats. Here it goes. So, when Mitch McConnell froze up, and it's happened multiple times, I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one on the radio, but I think we all could probably agree he was suffering some sort of medical episode. I don't know what it was, so I'm not going to speculate. But I think we all could agree some sort of medical episode, and it happened a couple times now. Elected officials, Democrats across the country. Hope you get better. Thoughts and prayers. We wish you the best. And it was Joe Biden, our president, that picked up the phone and called Mitch McConnell. He didn't call him with a conspiracy theory. He didn't tell him that he needed to be outed from office. No. According to Mitch McConnell, they had a very pleasant conversation, and Joe Biden was only calling him to see how he was doing and to wish him well. Say what you want about Joe Biden. Not a bad guy. It's the right thing to do. It's called empathy, and that's what Joe Biden did. But why is it that when Paul Pelosi is attacked with a hammer and almost is murdered, you don't hear a lot of elected officials that are Republicans that are thoughts and prayers for the Pelosi's, and we hope he has a speedy recovery? There were some. But why is it Matt Gaetz and Ted Cruz and fringe right politicians said that it was some sort of gay relationship and that Paul Pelosi let him in? Now, we learned, based on the investigation, that that was not true. That was a lie. Did they apologize? Did they say that they were wrong and that they rushed to judgment? No. No apologies from the right. None at all. You don't have to like John Fetterman. You don't have to like his policies. But after John Fetterman had a stroke, it was Matt Gaetz who called him a vegetable. Why is it that we get this sort of hateful rhetoric from the right, but we don't seem to get that from the left, do we? At least not in these circumstances. Why is that? Why is that? Today, if Joe Biden froze and had the same types of medical episodes that Mitch McConnell had, I can guarantee you that Republicans would be all over it. Sean Hannity would be leading with it on his show today. Laura Ingraham would be leading with it on her show today. Joe Biden, mentally unfit for office. Heck, they do that now. Imagine if Joe Biden had that same medical episode freeze up a couple times that Mitch McConnell had. Republicans would be salivating at the mouth. We wouldn't hear, geez, Joe, we hope you get better. We wouldn't see Republicans picking up the phone, wishing Joe Biden well, hoping he makes a speedy recovery. No, they'd be attacking him. But when it happens to a Republican, we hope you get better. Thoughts and prayers with your family. So is it a stretch for me to say right now that many of the Democrats that are in office today have some empathy? That Joe Biden is an empathetic person? Did Donald Trump pick up the phone and wish Mitch McConnell well? No. Did Donald Trump pick up the phone and wish Paul Pelosi well? No. Did Donald Trump pick up the phone and wish John Fetterman well? No. Why? Because Donald Trump doesn't care about anybody but himself. And I would say the same for many of those on the fringe right. That is the fundamental difference today, in my personal opinion, between those on the alt-right and those on the left. I believe those on the alt-right don't have empathy. They don't care about people. They play political games, and Jim Jordan is the poster child for where the Republican Party is out today. They're not lawmakers, they're noisemakers. Gymnasium Jordan, in my opinion, based on the evidence, and I've interviewed some of these kids that were on that wrestling team, Jim Jordan enabled kids to be sodomized. And Jim Jordan, who has now defied a subpoena for how many days, wants to lecture us about Hunter Biden and about Democrats that should testify under oath. By the way, Hunter Biden was more than willing to do so the other day. And Gymnasium Jordan is the one that wants to lecture us on subpoenas and testifying under oath? I mean, you have to be frickin' kidding me. This has to be a joke. It's a sad, sad joke, ladies and gentlemen, where the Republican Party is at today. Listen, I'm not happy with both parties. I'm not happy with those that are on the extreme left today. I'm certainly not happy with those that are on the right. I tend to agree with Democrats more today than Republicans on 9 out of 10 issues, especially social issues today. But whether we're talking about Meghan McCain being a Nepo baby, or we're talking about a fake electorate scheme where 6 Republicans in Nevada were indicted, or whether we're talking about Vivek Ramaswamy and his conspiracy theories about January 6th, we all have a very important, an extremely important job to do come this November, and that's vote. Because I can guarantee you this, the more people that vote, the better chance that Republicans are not going to be in office. They're going to lose elections. They had a terrible 2022 midterms. Why? Why? Because their platform is based on what most Americans don't want, which is making abortion illegal. But they don't even seem to understand that, and they can't get out of their own way. They can't separate church from state. They can't come up with a replacement plan for Obamacare, but they still want to bitch and moan and blame Joe Biden for all their problems. It's sad, it's pathetic, and it ain't getting any better anytime soon. I'll tell you that right now. Take a few more phone calls if you want to join the show. We have a few more minutes for phone calls. 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. If you'd like to be a part of the conversation, let's go to Edward. Edward is next up on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Edward.
Hey, Brian. How's it going? Happy Friday, man.
Happy Friday. What's on your mind, man?
Nothing much, man. Just thinking about what you were saying about, like, you know, I know it's always been a debate, like, Democrats versus Republicans, but some of the people you get on your show, do you really believe they actually have a chance of winning? Like, realistically, or is it realistically?
I've had a lot of different people on my show, so it depends.
You have.
It depends who you're referring to.
I mean, you've had porn stars, perverts, a few other people.
Well, Anthony Weiner's not running for office anymore, so
I know.
As far as Evan Stone, probably not. Evan's a really nice guy, and I enjoy the conversation we have. But if somebody's willing to come up, listen, I had Vivek Ramaswamy on last month.
Yeah.
Does he have any chance of being? Does he have any chance of being the president? Absolutely not. Probably but I'll still invite them to come on and pick their brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good educational thing to see what they're thinking and seeing where it goes. I understand too.
Yeah, sure. So. Listen, I thought that about Donald Trump in 2016 when he was running against Hillary Clinton. I seriously thought that Donald Trump didn't have a chance to defeat Hillary, and I was wrong. So I'm never going to say never.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm never going to say never.
But let's be honest. I think you and I both agree it's going to be Trump versus Biden round 2 this time again. Don't you?
Sadly, yeah, I agree. Sadly, unless one of them croaks, which I'm not rooting for, but I'm saying I don't think there's any other way that either of them are not going to be the front runner for either party. I think there's probably a 99% chance that that's going to happen. I'm going to go with, and I'm going to say that.
Well, since we've talked about the president, who do you think the vice president may become?
For which person?
For both sides. Who are you picking? Like, who's your view? Who's your favorite?
Well, there's a difference between who's my favorite and who they're going to pick.
Who's the logistic front runner?
Well, I'll answer your first question. Joe Biden's Kamala Harris is going to be running with Joe Biden again. I don't think there's any chance that he picks somebody else. That's for a lot of different reasons. Number one, he would lose a lot of the black vote. A lot of Democrats would be very unhappy with him. So that's. Do I want someone else to be his vice president? Absolutely. Hakeem Jeffries, Booker. I'd go with Shapiro out there in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of people that Joe Biden could pick, young up-and-comers. When it comes to Donald Trump, he's going to pick some lunatic on the far right. It could be Kerry Lake. It could be Marjorie Taylor Greene. It could be Vivek Ramaswamy. It's going to have to be some crazy lunatic right-wing MAGA. I can guarantee you he's not going to pick any moderate Republican to be his vice president. I mean,
don't think
it could be Nikki Haley. I doubt it.
You don't think the governor from Florida maybe say, hey, you know what, maybe I'll step down as president and maybe take a VP nomination?
No, I don't think DeSantis is going to do that because he has aspirations maybe in 2028 to be the next president of the United States, and I think it would ruin his chances there. No, I don't think there's any chance that Ron DeSantis – and by the way, I don't think Trump would pick him either.
Okay.
Yeah.
We look at history, a lot of VPs became presidents afterwards.
Sure. It's very, very possible. But I think that if Donald Trump is going to pick somebody on the fringe alt-right, that's what I think. By the way, I have some breaking news that I want to share with all of you while you're on the line. Rudy Giuliani was just ordered to pay $148 million for damaging these Georgia election workers. He is going to be broke for the rest of his life, and he's probably going to go to jail within a year or two. This was a guy who a lot of people looked at as some sort of hero as the mayor of New York City, and now he is known as someone who defamed these individuals and now has to pay up $148 million. So Rudy Giuliani's never going to have money for the rest of his life.
So he became the savior of New York to the center of the United States.
I guess you
the
could.
Biggest center.
I guess you could say that, my man. I guess you could say that.
I mean, there's something to work with on that. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're right about that. Edward, good to hear from you, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Okay.
All right, guys. Peace. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Number to call 702-221-7283. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The breaking news: Rudy Giuliani has been ordered in a courtroom to pay $148 million to these two election workers. Listen. There is no such thing as freedom of speech when it doesn't pertain to the government. You can't defame people, and then those people suffer for it. These two individuals that he defamed, he lied about them. He said they were overturning votes, which was a lie. That was proven. And because of the verbiage that Rudy Giuliani used, guess what? They received death threats. I've played some of them on the air. They were being followed, weird people knocking on their doors. Their lives were ruined. Do I think $148 million is a bit much? Well, from what I've heard, Rudy Giuliani's not even worth $30,000 right now. He couldn't even really buy a car, maybe a used car. He's broke. So I think this is going to be O.J. Simpson all over again in one aspect of it. I know Rudy Giuliani is not liable for murder, but his entire life now, Rudy Giuliani, any money that he earns, he's going to have to give the brunt of that to these two women. He's never going to have money for the rest of his life, or he's going to have to hide his money, one or the other. All right. There's somebody on social media that's saying, are you denying election fraud? It's interesting because these MAGAs don't seem to want to listen. So I'm going to speak very slowly to a guy by the name of Mark who doesn't seem to listen to what I have to say. As I've said before, and I'll say again, and I'll speak slowly so you understand, there's going to be some levels of election fraud in every election. But that doesn't mean that there was something called widespread voter fraud that would lead anybody to believe that an election could have been stolen. Do you understand the difference, sir? Never have I ever said that there wasn't any type of election fraud in any election, including 2020. But nobody has been able to prove that there was widespread voter fraud. So, Mark, you can say I'm wrong until the cows come home. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. And it doesn't make any sense for me to have a conversation with somebody like that because you're the kind of guy that's going to say the earth is flat and the sky is purple. Oh, but you're wrong, Brian. You don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. Donald Trump won that 2020 election. Okay, you just go ahead and believe that and the earth is flat. You go for it. You probably still believe in the tooth fairy. Maybe if one of your teeth gets knocked out, maybe you could just put that tooth underneath your pillow, and then if you're living by yourself, maybe you'll find a Benji in there when you wake up in the morning too. I must be wrong about that also. I don't know. Maybe I'm right. And let me also be very clear on something. There's a difference between having an opinion and having facts, or having facts to back up your opinion. To conclude, January 6th was not an inside job, and Donald Trump didn't win the 2020 election. And if you believe any one or both of those things, then you are no better than Alex Jones, who, by the way, is back on X, regretfully so. I hate to admit that, but yeah. Elon Musk likes those conspiracy theorists. He likes the Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s. He likes the Alex Jones of the world. And I think there's a difference between freedom of speech when it pertains to the government and then freedom of speech when it's private business. All right, we'll take a few more phone calls. I promised people that I would take a few more calls, so why don't I do that? People are waiting very patiently on hold. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Larry. Larry's next up on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Larry.
What's going on?
How you doing?
Pretty good. This is pretty cool, man. I'm just going through it. I happened to see you guys talking Oh, I got the radio. I should turn the thing off.
Yep, there's
I see you. you're cutting down my man Giuliani. It's a beautiful thing.
Well,
it's a beautiful thing.
You know, I got to be honest with you, Larry. After 9/11, I think a lot of people looked up to Rudy Giuliani, and rightfully so.
I believe you're right. I really did thought he was like a god.
Yeah, but these days he's a disgraceful man. He really is. He's
scum of the earth, to put it mildly.
He really is. And you know what makes it? Larry, did you see what he said outside the courtroom the other day when a judge already decided that he defamed these two women, and then he does the same thing. He does the same thing outside the courtroom. It's crazy.
He's pathetic.
I
mean, he really is. For a living being, he is pathetic. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. But then again, I'm pretty much 100% Democrat.
Yeah. Well, I don't think let me be clear. You don't have to be a Democrat to call Rudy Giuliani disgraceful. If you're a decent human being, I don't care what you are, Republican, Democrat, Independent. Rudy Giuliani is a disgrace to this country. He's a disgrace to his family and a disgrace to New York City. He is brown-nosed Donald Trump. He has lied for Donald Trump. He has attacked our democracy. He has defamed innocent individuals. And because of that, he is going to pay the price, and he will probably die in prison.
With no money.
Yeah. You're right about that. He definitely doesn't have any money, or at least he's not going to have money soon. Yeah, you're right about that.
The orange-haired guy, he's got no money neither.
Yeah, well, he'll lead you to believe he's still a billionaire. He's a brilliant businessman, right?
And I'm the Pope.
Yeah.
Hey, brother, what's your name, man? I missed your name.
Well, people call me a lot of different things, but you can call me Brian, and it's a pleasure for you to call in, Larry. I appreciate hearing from you. Thank you so much, sir.
And Brian, thank you for talking to me, man.
Absolutely. You call back.
Have a good day.
You call back anytime, my friend. Thank you so
much.
much.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Okay, so you too. Thank you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And again, that number, 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. So we had a Dave that called in earlier, and he said he had a quick follow-up. So I'm in a good mood today, so I will allow people to do a follow-up. Dave, what's up, man? Lower your feed if you can, because we're on a little bit of a delay, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to stop it.
There you go.
I had a little bit of a follow-up. I don't want to take a whole lot of time.
Yep.
In relationship to election fraud.
Yes.
And the claims that were made, stop the steal. Well, the only steal that was stopped was on January 6th.
Yeah, you're right. The coup.
When Donald Trump tried to steal the election.
You're not going to get an argument from me.
If he got his way, and got a recount in every state, he might be surprised at what that recount was, because it might not have worked out in his favor.
Well, there actually were.
A lot of people.
There actually were.
A lot of people don't understand that.
In some counties, there actually were recounts. Do you remember the Arizona recount where they actually found more votes for people on the left than on the right? I mean, it's comical.
Yeah, absolutely. And Arizona came in last on the fake electors here, and so we still are waiting to see where that's going to lead. But that's all.
Thank you, Dave.
I just wanted to add to that
it.
conversation.
And you're absolutely right. Thank you for the call, Dave. I appreciate that. 702. Thank you. 702-221-7283, and again 702-221-7283 is the number to call. You know, it's interesting because I try to speak fact to fiction on this show, and it's okay to have different opinions, right? Just don't lie. That's all I ask. Don't mischaracterize my opinions or what I say, and just don't come up with things that are just baseless. We could all have differences of opinions, but it's interesting. On social media, it doesn't matter whether I'm on TikTok or X or YouTube, wherever entity you're watching or listening, and people will call me a liar. They'll say I'm fake news. They'll call me a liberal, which, by the way, I'm not. But the ad hominem attacks, but they won't come up with reasons why. And I get this every day on social media. I get this every single day. And my response to somebody is, okay, let's have a conversation. What did I lie about? What's not true? You lied about January 6th. Okay. What did I lie about? What I've said about January 6th is consistent since day one. Over 140 officers were injured that day. There's video that proves that. Over 1,000 people were indicted, more than 1,000 actually, and have already been charged with at least one crime. That's already been proven in a court of law. All of those defendants had the opportunity to defend themselves. Many of those defendants admitted guilt in a courtroom and were sorry for what they did. Now, whether you think they're genuine or not is something else. And Donald Trump is the reason why it happened in the first place. If he didn't lie about the 2020 election and say it was stolen, those people wouldn't have been there. At least those people wouldn't have stormed the Capitol. For the most part, that's really all I've said about January 6th, and that it can't happen again, and it was a very embarrassing day for this country. So where are the lies? I'll give you some lies about January 6th, all put forth by the right. George Soros was responsible. Antifa was responsible. Democrats were responsible. Nancy Pelosi called off the National Guard. That's a lie. It's been debunked and proven. What we know is that Donald Trump was sitting on his ass in the White House for 5 hours. Testimony from witnesses that were working within the Donald Trump administration. He was sitting in a room watching it all unfold while his wife, I can't believe she's still his wife, there has to be a money financial situation there, refused to also put up anything on social media to stop the violence. She was more worried about which rugs were in the White House that she was going to replace. Another despicable person. Those are not lies, ladies and gentlemen. Those are not opinions. Those are facts. There's a difference between having a debate, having an opinion, and having a fact. And as I say again, Donald Trump is partially responsible for what took place on January 6th. And Vivek Ramaswamy, we talked about him in the first segment. He is wrong when he says it was an inside job. That's a lie. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Paul. Paul, I believe you're next on Pushing the Limits. Hi, Paul.
How you doing, man?
Good. What's on your mind?
I'm going to ask you a question, and I mean it in a serious way. Do you think that these MAGA people, do you believe that if in the years to come that will be books written about that they potentially could be some kind of a mental illness? And I mean, and I'm not downplaying people that have a serious illness.
Right.
But they just refuse to accept reality. Like, oh, he didn't say that, and then you showed him a video or something that he said it. Well, that's not what he meant. Well, what did he mean? Oh, he didn't really mean that. It's like they just keep moving it, and making it's like the world is flat. Well, who told you that? CNN? 2 + 2 is 4. Oh, is that what the lip told you? Like,
it's interesting. It's a good question, Paul, and this is the best way I can answer it. I know people that I've considered fairly intelligent people. Friendships, marriages, businesses. Unfortunately, there is a group of people in this country that believe what they hear, and they don't want to look at actual facts. And when Donald Trump says he won the 2020 election, or when Fox News says Dominion voting machines, or whatever the case may be, they believe it. And luckily, some people are held to account, but it ruins people's lives. These people are brainwashed, man. So is it a mental illness? I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I think there's a lot of different reasons why people believe certain things that they believe. And, all we can do is keep fighting the fight and speaking the truth, brother.
I mean, I still think that the majority of people in this country have working brain cells. Do you still think that even if listen, I voted for Biden. I'm with you. I don't want him to run. I would rather have Newsom run or Hakeem Jeffries or somebody else run. I'm with you on the board.
Right.
But if it comes down to Trump and saving democracy and someone that sexually assaults women and Joe Biden, I don't agree with all of his policies, but he's a decent human being.
I agree with everything you just said, and I make that argument every day, my friend. I appreciate you calling. I'm got up against the clock here, my friend. But, Paul, it's good to hear from you.
Later.
Thank you. I'm with you. All right, everybody. It's been fun. Follow my social media platforms. I appreciate being a part of the Occupy Democrats Network as well on Facebook, the good people on there. Follow me on social media at PTL Radio Show on my YouTube page. You can follow me on there. Also, my Twitter page, PTL. That is what we are. We are pushing the limits. So follow me on all those social media platforms. I am very interactive on all those platforms, including TikTok. So follow me on there, and I appreciate all the phone calls today. It's been a interesting 2 hours of radio, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, even my very special MAGA friends. I hope you have a very good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday, everybody. Have a great weekend.